So you have the NFC West. And up until now, this has been the 49ers division to lose in some fashion. There's a little bit of drama, I think, in San Fran land. And Purdy, people still aren't sure that he's the guy. Brandon Ayuk doesn't think he's the guy. He wants out, obviously. George Kittle is getting older. Deebo Samuel, obviously, if they have less weapons, he's got to stay on the field. Christian McCaffrey's getting up there for running backs now. So you got to watch his usage rate. And Kyle Shanahan continues to be the guy who can't bring it home.
That's a tough one, man, because it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it when it comes to Purdy. I mean, the guy's gotten you there.
No argument here.
He's doing the job, right? And now in a situation like his, I can get on board with the whole like devil thing, right? I mean, it's like, oh, the guy's getting in a Super Bowl, like, let's roll with it. I guess you could try to pull like the Rams, like in what they did with Goff and Stafford. You could try to pull a switcheroo with somebody to upgrade, but
that's tough because Stafford was elite when they sent him away from Detroit. Like, you could tell.
Right.
I don't think we're quite there. That's the strange part about Purdy. Purdy's very similar to Tua in the way that Tua's dynamic, but you're not sure if it's the system or not. And Purdy's kind of the same way, but he came within a few yards of winning a Super Bowl. So it's like, which one is? I mean,
but Jared Goff was in the Super Bowl with the Rams, right?
They weren't that close to winning that game. But yes, I agree with you. But at the same time, I think McVay knew that Goff wasn't his guy before then. I'm not sure that Kyle Shanahan doesn't think Purdy is his guy, although he did try to make Trey Lance his guy, and that failed miserably. So, like, that's the thing, is a weird situation for a team that has been so consistently good and made the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. We're like, is Brock Purdy the guy? We're still asking. We're going to be asking it all season long.
Yeah, and it's a tough situation, and until he does win, it's going to be. I think that question is going to linger, and because what stops him from being the next Tom Brady? The only thing that's is a couple Super Bowls, and people are starting to have that conversation, right? And not that that's an easy thing to achieve, but and you're right, the supporting cast is aging in ways, so especially with McCaffrey, and he is like the X factor because he is one of the few running backs that's still in the league that is truly a dual threat running back,
when he's on the field.
And can the guy changes the game. He's a game changer when he's on the field. And I think that like operating without a guy like that would be extremely difficult, especially on what is perceived to be I don't know what you want to call it, game manager style quarterback.
Yeah.
When you lose like your best tool, but we'll see, man. I can't really make a call on it, how I feel about it. I feel like there's too much left to be seen to make a definitive statement one way or the other on where Brock Purdy stands. It's interesting that Ayuk wants out. I mean, is it directly because of he feels like Purdy's not the guy, or is it a money thing?
It could be both, because there's been a lot of smoke with him. And I do wonder if it has to do with, maybe it's a target share thing too, but perhaps he thinks that Purdy is not the guy who can get him the ball as much as he wants. I don't know, but this is a team that has performed really well, but has this uncertainty heading into this season that feels like it's been percolating for a while. And usually when you're this consistently good, you don't have these kinds of issues, but they do have it in San Francisco. So it's just something that I thought was interesting, because when you look at the rest of the division, the Seahawks, obviously, they part with Pete Carroll, another guy who'd been around forever. Bring in the Ravens defensive coordinator, I believe. I can't remember his name, but they should be better defensively, which is something that they struggle with. But offensively, they're still rolling out Geno. So, like, I don't know what to expect there. I mean, he's been decent, I would say. But is he the kind of guy that can elevate? Not so sure. The Rams obviously had a great season last year. Puka Nacua emerged as this amazing rookie threat. Matt Stafford is definitely getting into the twilight, if he's not already there, of his career. Is Puka Nacua as a result of him, or is he, like Kenny Golladay? Remember, he signed a big contract with the Giants, never saw him again. We'll see. And then the one that intrigues me the most is Kyler Murray and Maserati Marv. Like, that's going to be potentially really fun to watch, because you want to talk about two guys that can be dynamic and make some plays, they got him there.
Yeah. And I think they're like the wild card, man.
I agree.
In the NFC West for sure. I do think you're going to see I feel like the Seahawks will be like consistent. It's just a matter of if they're going to have enough to compete for the division championship. But I think they'll be in every game they play. I feel like they'll be average. And then it depends on how these off the field things impact the 49ers and how, is the aging Stafford still have enough magic left in that arm to keep the Rams relevant. And so interesting division for sure. Way more interesting than like the NFC South, as we just discussed. I think there's a lot of storylines, right? There's a lot of storylines in that division. And so very interesting to see how it plays out. It's, I think it's hard to pick against the 49ers right now today.
Yes.
But, we'll see what happens. And it's incredibly fascinating. Again, really excited to see what happens with Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. in Arizona for sure. Because they did new head coach this year too.
I don't remember.
I thought they brought a guy in and then fired.
Yeah,
I thought.
Who knows?
I can't.
I don't know. I can't.
Who knows?
It's so hard to keep track.
We're only
honestly.
a football podcast.
Yeah, we're not. But we're not a football podcast.
No,
but I can't
you're
remember every single Joe Schmo that comes through and coaches these NFL teams for like a cup of coffee.
I can't either.
But it'll be interesting to watch. I think that we overall have a lot of exciting storylines potentially this year. And you and I will definitely go back on some of our takes that we just had when some team that we said is going to suck starts 4-0, and then all of a sudden they're 4-5, and we're like, "See, we told you." So we'll be all over them. That's right.